My name is Jazmin Morinigo. I'm a third-year International Affairs and Economics major, and I am a member of Students for Justice in Palestine at Northeastern. Students for Justice in Palestine is an undergraduate group here on campus where we essentially have two functions. The first being we kind of raise awareness about the Palestinian cause, and we also advocate for the BDS movement, which stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions from the State of Israel. For the past 5 years, I would say, the Students for Justice in Palestine, SJP, has actually been trying to pass various BDS referendums through the SGA Senate, the Student Government Association, and this was actually the third year in a row where our referendum did not pass. This spring semester, and decided to really focus on passing two different referenda through the SGA. And essentially the first one was if Northeastern should disclose a list of organizations, companies that they are invested into, because we believe students have the right to know where our endowment is going. The second question was, should Northeastern stop purchasing HP products, Hewlett-Packard products, until HP-affiliated companies end their involvement in all the following: deportations, population registries, and settlements in military-occupied areas. So the first question regarding the endowments at Northeastern actually did pass, but the second question, the second referenda, did not pass, which was really heartbreaking in a way because it was definitely just personal biases that got into the way of that. It's problematic because Northeastern is essentially a huge hypocrite in this. The Northeastern Law School, for instance, is actually one of the best law schools in the country regarding social justice issues, but this particular university themselves is actually funding and complicit in the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. It's problematic because we are profiting off of the occupation to some extent because we're using HP technology, we're letting HP remain complicit in this. But it's not just Palestine, right? It's also deportations. ICE also uses HP technology to deport undocumented immigrants as well. Essentially, Northeastern is profiting off of all of this because we're using that technology directly, or we're using those companies directly, and we're not holding them accountable. That's a really great question because unfortunately Northeastern actually is complicit in a lot of terrible things happening in the world. So the first thing I want to talk about is divestment from fossil fuels. So a few years ago, Northeastern undergraduate students and graduate students as well actually had a campaign called Divest NEU, and essentially they were calling on the administration to stop their investments in ExxonMobil. The second answer to this question, I would say that Northeastern loves gentrification. Northeastern loves displacing Black and brown folks in the Roxbury area. So Northeastern loves essentially investing into like all this property in the surrounding area, but being completely just ignoring the residents that have been there for decades and generations. And lastly, I would say that Northeastern also loves to invest into the military-industrial complex. Northeastern is also has a great relationship to Raytheon, and Raytheon producing the second largest producer of missiles, directly bombs civilians in Syria, in Yemen, and things of that nature. In my opinion, sometimes you kind of have to go through these like formal official channels to indicate that you tried going through SGA, you tried talking to administration, but you were getting no meetings. You tried all these various outlets in which the university lets you speak to them, and everything falls upon deaf ears. So at some point, rather than like going through these formal channels, you have to go through nonviolent means of getting the university's attention and letting them know that the student body is not gonna have this. Student organizing and activism, that's a way to really let the administration know that students are urging accountability from the institution. So I would say there's many great organizations on campus like Students Against Institutional Discrimination, SED, PSA, as I just mentioned, SJP, doing really great work in which they are trying to hold the university accountable for the things that they do. So this involves a lot of actions. Actually, in the late 70s, early 80s, I believe, Northeastern divested from apartheid in South Africa. They divested from South Africa successfully, and it was not an easy campaign. There was it was not meant with these open arms of, yes, let's divest from South Africa. It was also a campaign. It was also a struggle for students to get administration to be held accountable for also being complicit in what was happening in South Africa at the time.